Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. My name is Brandon Elliott. I'm your host. I am very excited. We have a special guest in the house, not in the physical house, but coming from Boulder, Colorado, which is one of my actually favorite spots. I love that location, beautiful location. And what's really cool is, Whitney, you've been doing this for a good amount of years now, really been transitioning, starting off doing the rentals, single family, doing the 10 flips per year and all that nonsense. And then starting to realizing that, hey, this is a big time suck and there's bigger ways, there's better ways to be able to do this. So you started transitioning into let's do some multifamily. And then on top of that, jumping in and partnering up with other groups to really build that relationship foundation, right? That relationship builder, unique person within every business to be able to help the funds keep coming in and be able to take down more territory within the business and make a bigger impact for so many people. So, Whitney, what is going on? How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm loving the energy. I was feeling a little under caffeinated today. Maybe I am. So I better catch up.
Yeah, we're going to do it together for sure. I'm excited. For anybody out there that doesn't know who you are, where you're from, your story, do you mind just giving that 10,000 or 30,000 foot view of what Whitney's up to today?
Well, what I'm up to today is I'm the Director of Investor Relations at PassiveInvesting.com, and we are a private equity group that purchases multifamily self-storage hotel and car wash deals across the United States. We're focused on cash flow, equity building, diversification, and tax benefits. And to do it all passively with our limited partner investors. So really helping our investors get their precious time back so they can go out and create the impact in the world and, just have choice and freedom there. Not what I wasn't born like this. I didn't go to school for this. I learned through the school of life. In 2002, I bought a house with a significant other, and about a month later, the relationship fell apart. And I was like, oh no, this is all under my name, all the utilities. I'm like, this is bad. Yeah. So I shoved the house full of roommates, and it was a 1960 something green shag carpet, psychedelic daisies painted.
Beautiful. That's what it was. We'll call it beautiful.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. But it had great bones, and there was amazing hardwood floors under that green shag carpet. I'm like, what did somebody do here? Yeah. Anyways, with a lot of bribing of my friends with pizza, beer, and sushi, got that house put back together in about 11 months. But I didn't know what I didn't know. I sold it. And I was like, yes, I'm out from underneath the house. And then I started kind of working out the financials. And I'm like, wow, I made more money flipping this one house than I did in my day job. That had me traveling almost 80 hours a week. Mm. And I hadn't been paying for my bills the entire time because my roommates had been supporting me through rent. Yeah. And like the mortgage and everything. And I'm like, ooh, I need to do this again.
Yeah, I need to get on this track again. That was awesome.
You hit a home run the first time. The second time is going to be better, right? Well, the second time was not better, but I learned.
Yeah, not always.
But my husband and I got together shortly after that. And I was like, I got this real estate thing figured out. I got it. And he was like, are you sure? Did you just see what happened in that second deal you did? But anyways, we did several more projects together, and we got really good at building up buckets of equity. Cool. But we hadn't figured out how to unlock the golden handcuffs and get our time back. I was like, how are people retiring? This is insane. And then one of our friends was like, well, why don't you keep one of the flips and put a renter in it? I'm like, brilliant.
Why didn't I think of that? That's so good.
Yeah. So did that, and then quickly realized that I had no idea how to underwrite a property. And, put a renter in it in Colorado, it doesn't cash flow, especially when the toilet breaks the next month. So learned how to out of state invest from there and, quadruple our cash flow pretty much overnight. And then we realized we were running out of capital. So I was like, ooh, how do you do this? We know how to flip. How do we combine the two together? So we started doing what is now known as the BRRRR, the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat.
Yeah.
and scaled up to about 30 single family rentals. And at that point in time, I was taking care of 2 family members. We had a little girl at home, and I was so drawn, total mom instincts are kicking in. I want to stay home with her. And I was like, hey, we've got enough cash flow coming in, babe. Can I stay home with our daughter? And he goes, yeah, I want that too. And I'm like, no. We did not plan for that.
Yeah.
Like, quick math in my head. I'm like, we need 80 rentals. I'm like,
yeah.
30 were killing me. Why would I go to 80? And I was like, okay, multifamily. Let's go buy a multifamily building because that's easy.
Yeah.
So we went into partnership and we bought a 52 unit multifamily building, and, we didn't lose any money. We made a little bit of money, but we learned a ton. And then I realized, okay, I need really good partners. And that's when I set out to, partner up with people and, learned all the ins and outs of private equity real estate. But I'm like, wait a second, I've got this core portfolio over here that's kicking off, lots of cash flow, lots of equity. I need to start building some of that passive income up for myself. So I could, like, the name of the game is passive income,
Sure.
get my time back.
Yeah.
And so that's where we are today. We have over 6,500 units, residential units personally in partnership, 2,200 self-storage units, some midterm rentals, some short-term rentals, a camper van business, and a partridge and a pear tree. But, we're living our lifestyle that we wanted 20 years from now today. And that's really what I help people do. Investors realize, how they can craft this for themselves utilizing passive real estate in my current role at passiveinvesting.com.
I love it. So I want to hear more about the learning curves on the multifamily, but I got to give you credit though, when, and that's where kind of like the entrepreneur spirit really like kicks in when you first started out. That first deal, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, the stuff kind of hit the fan, right? And you figured out a way, when there's a will, there's a way, and you were determined to not just let it, kind of drift behind you and neglect it. Instead, you actually focused on how do we actually turn this into something better? You flipped it and you made it into some nice profits, which is great. What's really funny is the learning curves on the second one and realizing, the numbers aspects, analyzing a deal. It's very important, right? And you were doing all of this in your backyard, right? In Colorado?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then you started looking outside in other states to actually get into bigger multifamily, correct?
Yeah. We were putting $80,000, down to buy a single family house, class B plus single family house here in Colorado at the time.
Yeah.
And, I could buy 4 class A houses in
Anywhere.
Minneapolis, City, in other markets.
Yep.
Now, the markets have shifted in the past several years, but there's still the same concepts apply.
Sure.
Right.
And so,
go for it.
So those were the states that you started focusing on, Indianapolis and other states like that had bigger cash flow as well, right? Kind of jumping onto something trending, going up in the market as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we really, initially focused where we knew people that could kind of help keep an eye on the property, but also like areas that we were familiar with.
Sure.
And, kind of leaning a lot on my husband for, that type of information. And then also just paying attention to where are other investors investing, right? Like success leaves clues. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. If all the out of state investors are having great, good success here in this one market, like, check it out.
Yeah. So as far as a learning curve goes, I want to ask about the multifamily, but as far as that second one goes, identifying and realizing, running the numbers, that was something that wasn't the strongest point at the time. Have anything really highlighted to you or that you've learned over time that work out better running the numbers or something that, somebody brand new could kind of rock and roll with and learn from as well? Because maybe there's certain people that are struggling with finding the new leads coming in or the location or analyzing the numbers,
Yeah, definitely. Well, so there was the second flip, and that was, a disaster, averted. And then there was like our first rental, which I think the one that we bought here in Colorado. I'm like,
okay.
Oh, we threw down $80,000. Like, this is what our friends are doing. They're buying homes and they're kind of sitting on the property and they're looking to harvest the cash flow someday. And then we didn't know what to do. We were like, oh, that sounds great. Like, we'll go buy, high quality property. Like, if the whole process flops on its head in a year, we felt really that we had a good asset that would preserve capital. We could sell it.
Were these just on the market though, or were these actually Burr properties?
No, that one was on the market. There was a distressed seller. They had just gotten notice right before Christmas that they needed to relocate in January. And the property went on the market on December 23rd. How many people are looking at properties on December 23rd?
Only you. And I like that. This girl right here. Yeah, I love it.
And it was in the middle of a snowstorm. And I told my husband, I'm like, we got to go look at it. And my really was like, okay, we'll go tomorrow. It's Christmas Eve. Do you know that?
Yeah. You okay with that?
I'm like, she could have said no, but she didn't. And, we put in an immediate offer. And there's a lot of lessons learned on that. One of it was I had taken some advice on just like how to work with the seller. And instead of like lowballing them, I was like really trying to open up a conversation. What do you need? Okay, you need a quick closing, and the realistic expectation of like money. And we really tailored our offer to exactly what they needed. So it's super hard for them to say no to us.
Yeah.
And two, as far as like where I kind of messed up with running the numbers is we had actually executed on our friend's strategy. We didn't understand our own investing goals, what we needed from our portfolio. We needed cash flow. That was our goal. Yeah. Yeah. We wanted to unlock the golden handcuffs. What did we do? We bought a great house that we could flip.
Yeah.
Which is what we had been doing the whole entire time. And so we walked right back into that equity trap again, as opposed to like understanding, okay, our investing goals, we need cash flow, we need tax benefits, and we need to be in a market where we could realistically expect some sort of equity bumps. And we totally botched that on that deal. Now, fortunately, a year later, we were able to exit that property, reposition all that capital, and go buy 4 or 5 properties. I can't remember if we bought 4 or 5, but quickly reposition it.
Good.
And that was a tough year to sit here and go, oh, all these 10 other rentals are bringing in $500-$600 a month in cash flow, and this one's $400, and I have to self-manage it, and that's if nothing breaks.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes it's tough, right? Because it's like getting started as a real estate investor, brand new, you start seeing the benefits, you start seeing the excellence and all the amazing things that it can bring you. And it's so true, right? Even if you make mistakes, though, luckily, as long as you can hang on, typically over time, and it's a tough year. It's a tough 2 years, maybe, right? And people might be resonating with this right now, right? Or about to. But if you can stay strong and realize that there is like this too will pass, there's opportunities that are coming up in the future. The market's not always going to stay like this. We'll probably get some equity. We'll probably get, some appreciation, so forth. Doing the burst strategy is amazing because you could really get the tax-free money from the refi. You can be able to have little or no money into it, ideally, at the end of the day. So then your cash on cash return is huge if you can make it cash flow, right? But having a good product is the name of the game. And it all just comes down to that forced appreciation, whether it is cutting expenses or doing the full renovation or whatever it may be, increasing rents to be able to really make the most out of it, right? Get that passive income that you're looking for, the tax benefits and everything else. So it is such a great learning lesson that you brought up. Like you were underwriting deals originally that other friends, other examples that you had, but it was different goals. It can still work. It's just different goals at the end of the day. So I really love that. Talk to me about after you went through the mud on that stuff, the tough season, you were like, hey, let's do multifamily because the goal is to get to 80 units. That would bring the financial freedom that we need as a household. So you're like, hey, this is brilliant. Let's get 50 units or so and we'll be good to go. Talk to me a little bit about that, the market, raising capital and finding that lead.
Yeah, it was outside of Indianapolis. And really, I had partnered up with like a couple other investors to go take down that particular property. I was running the financials on that. And that was kind of the value that I was bringing in. One was asset managing and the other one was, looking to secure additional capital to kind of fill in the gap. Really, just kind of, straightforward partnership, where we kind of felt we held the property for about 15 months before getting it sold. It was very light value add. The value add was complete in about 3 months. The problem is that I got placed with property management and the leasing, the girl, we had troubles like immediately, with lease up and, finally like replaced the person before the summer season, we got it nice and leased up. And then we still had a few more units to get, fully leased up throughout the winter time. And it was a different gal. And oddly enough, they were more interested in getting their year-end bonus for leases than they were actually getting people into the apartments. Ooh. Which for me, I'm like, the math does not figure. Yeah. Like the bonus was not that good. Like
you're running the numbers wrong here. Let me explain it to you. This is going to set you up for so much more success if you just do this.
So, by the time we realized that, like in November, early December, the damage was already kind of done. And so we had to sit for another 2 or 3 months before we can get those additional units leased back up and reposition it for sale.
What year was this?
That was 2019.
Okay.
18 going into 19. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so what was the plan with that one? Was it supposed to be a flip or kind of just a value add reposition and then see if somebody gives you a high offer and keep it for cash flow until then?
Yep. We were just going to sit on it, complete the rehab, pull out as much cash as we could, and then just sit on it until we got an offer.
Yeah.
But, when we kind of hit that little snag, it was tough on the partnership. It was really tough. And I think everybody kind of realized like, this is cool. I mean, we're all pretty new into multifamily investing. We brought our strengths together, but we're like, ooh, I think I want to do it a different way. And so we didn't really see, we're all still, great acquaintances, great friends now, but, we just didn't really see the partnership continuing on.
That makes sense.
Like for me, I got bitten by the bug. I want to go figure it. Like if this,
they're like, I want to figure out this property management situation first.
Yeah.
And you're like, we'll figure it out as we go. Let's get 100. It'll be, and sometimes it makes sense because, when you go bigger, you can start actually affording real high quality property management.
And also full-time employees on the location too.
Yeah.
That was, the biggest stress. Like that person was only part-time.
Yeah.
With our property. So, they're getting pulled all sorts of direction and, that's.
Yeah. When they're not full-time, they're like the ultimate hustler putting on multiple hats during the day when you really want them to be laser focused on your project because it's at their hands, at their mercy to really make it successful to a certain degree, of course.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
So, we actually had somebody give great, Dave, I interviewed him the other day and it was great advice because I've struggled with property management as well. I think a lot of us real estate investors have. And what he did so unique and something I want to try in the future, I loved it, was he leaves property management for property management and then leasing a whole different department. And so he works out a better deal overall on the property management because they're not responsible for actually getting new tenants in there. So the one lease, just having a shark of a lease assignment person in there and just crushing it and ends up being such a win-win around the board. So I really love that idea, but I'm curious with this person, how many they're working, 20 hours a week or so?
Or for that person, no, they were working full time. It's just that it was not, their sole focus was not just on our property. They just kind of saw maybe they were already 1 foot, 2 feet out the door. And so they just saw the opportunity like, hey, I'm going to get my year-end bonus and I don't really care what happens like at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, like, I was like, if you're thinking about your financial future,
you'll make so much more if you just make it a win-win here.
Right. Or like resign or I don't know. But yeah, as far as like property management, from the single family side, I think a lot of the lessons I learned were to really, references are great, but really to kind of dig into the unique ability that property manager has and the actual scale of their portfolio and where you fall in there. I originally, with my Kansas City part of my portfolio, I started off with somebody who was pretty new. I mean, gift was finding undervalued deals and doing the construction. But when it came, he had an amazing staff person who handled everything on the property management side. But when she left, the business really struggled and he didn't have the scale. He only had like 80 to 100 units under his belt. And he didn't have the scale to go find that rock star employee and bring them in.
Yeah.
Conversely, like, I've seen situations, where the property management company has 2,000 or 3,000 units and you're an investor sitting here going, you might have like 5, 10, 15, you're kind of small potatoes to them.
Sure.
So you're just a number. So really finding that sweet spot, I look for property managers. If I were to do it all over again, we still have midterm rentals. We still have short-term rentals. But I look for, management companies that have about, not on the short-term side. I mean, I think that's a lot more labor intensive, but like about 300 properties and, that have, great walkthrough processes and, great lease up processes to where you're aligned and it's performance based. And not just fee based, because it's so easy to collect the fee.
Yes. Performance based is the way to go. So moving forward, would you say there wouldn't be a end of the year type of bonus just for any, God-given reason for them? You would restructure that a little?
Yeah, well, that wasn't our structure. That was the property manager's structure. That was the business structure. And so, we just had the one building and, they were like, typically we bonus our employees. And I'm like, okay, great. Like, if that's what you typically do, fantastic. This is time tested. But, and here's the thing, you're always going to have bad apples. And even somebody who is a high performer can struggle, at certain seasons in their career. So, not knowing all of those parameters and where this person was. And I guess just to kind of, step away from that particular situation, but you as the investor have to elevate yourself to the role of COO and CEO.
Yeah.
And so you have to monitor and measure what you want to see. And I think so many times in, small single family investors or even mid-sized single family investors that have 15, 20 units, they take their foot off the pedal a little bit and kind of hand too much over to the property manager. You have to strike that fine balance.
Yeah, they're like, hey, I got a property manager. That's their job now. And it's like, no. I think it is, just like you said, it's important to raise above and become that CEO, right? And also empowering, the people that you're leading to let them know like, hey, you are the CEO as well. Like, you're the CEO of this section. So run it with excellence and talk to me. Be very transparent. If something outside of work, family, friends, like finances, whatever is going on, I want to know about it so that we can, talk out problems instead of being buried away and keeping it separate. And then that coming into the workplace in the next 3-6 months. And then we have issues, right? Because that's not going to be good for anybody. So I think, just leadership, right? It really fine tunes it and pulling people's excellence out of them. I really love that. Talk to me. I'm really intrigued. I've been like eager to get this question out of you the whole time. Car washes. I want to talk about car washes because I've never actually talked about car washes, but I've been seeing more, obviously, like we all have car washes all over, but I've been seeing more like excellence in car washes the last, I don't know, year or two in our area of San Diego. I know this is nationwide, but I just see like, it's obviously, a crazy business. These guys are building these amazing, great looking. I mean, the marketing just behind how amazing it looks like. I don't want to take my Porsche through, but it looks good. So let's drive through, So talk to me, why car washes to start off with? Like, I didn't even think about this until you brought it up. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, they're popping up everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's a $33 billion industry that on average is growing at 4% per year. But, there's really 4 types of car washes.
Okay.
There's the in-bay car wash. You drive it in and you drop the quarters and you wash your own car.
Do it yourself. Yeah.
Do it yourself, DIY. Yeah. And then there's one in-bay automatic, that's the ones that are attached to gas stations. Yeah. And, if you're like 2 or 3 people back in line, you're not going to stick around. You're going to go, time's precious, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the scale, there's your full service car washes, right? There might be a small tunnel, but there's an army of people vacuuming your car at the beginning, army of people drying and wiping down your car at the end. Those are very labor intensive, not highly scalable. And so there's a sweet spot in here that in this sector, the industry is growing like double almost what the general industry is. That's called the express tunnel car wash. And so, there might be a whole like stack of vacuums. You can vacuum your car, or you can, pay extra in your subscription, have somebody else do that for you.
Yep.
You go through a long tunnel, and that tunnel is handling the wash, the rinse, the wax, the tire shine, everything. And it can be very technology enabled. So with somebody that has a subscription model, we can apply the tire shine like every 4 times, but if they pay our higher subscription and they want it every time, we can do it every time. Like, and that's not, it's run by 2 to 3 full-time employees.
Yep.
And very labor unintensive. And we can wash about 400 to 500 cars a day.
Wow.
Doing that. So where are the kind of the perks of the industry? Well, right. It's moving your clients from a single pay model into a subscription model to create that monthly recurring revenue. All right. Getting the express tunnel to where you can actually, that large tunnel to where you can modulate the usage of energy, water, chemicals, and then also adding additional value, right? Like, what do we sound like here? We sound like, a multifamily building, right? NOI, except with car washes, it's called EGI, expected gross income. Now you got to go back to like, okay, now you understand what an express car wash is and why it might be of value to invest in one, either personally or passively. But personally, you need to cough up about $1 million to $2 million to buy into some sort of franchise or ground up development.
Yeah.
And then probably what's going to happen is you're going to be like one of these mom and pop owners that we are acquiring from because they realize, oh no, I just bought myself another job that I have to operate.
Let me ask with this, and I don't mean to cut you off. When it comes down to the franchise part, do you believe that with the car wash space that it's necessary or needed? Or, I mean, it does help, I'm sure, with the whole pamphlet, the SOPs behind it, but
yeah,
I mean, I don't think anybody really looks at like the name of a car wash. I would look at like a Subway or something, or like I don't know, but I'm just curious.
Well, it's instant brand recognition, right? When you buy into a franchise, but there's a couple issues with that because you may not own the land with that franchise and you certainly don't own the brand. Okay. So already as a business owner, you're kind of, handicapping yourself, especially owning the brand, right? Like if there's, multiple car washes in your immediate area with that exact same brand, now you can't market where you want to market.
True.
Because people own a geographical area when you buy a franchise. 2, if another location is poorly run, that reflects back on you. That's very challenging.
That's good. Yeah.
So also, when you own a franchise, there's generally no third-party management company you can pay place with, right? And there is no third-party management company nationwide that handles car washes. And that's really where the unique opportunity is. And what we're doing is we're scaling a 250 to 300 unit portfolio, direct ownership. We own the land, we own the brand, and we own the property management company. Yeah. So we own the end-to-end experience for the client. And that also positions us very well for an IPO exit or a large roll to a REIT or private equity group. Or, we could go right back to our conservative exit, which is individual sale of the assets.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, when you own everything, then you have control of it, right? If something's not working out, you can quickly adjust and pivot, right? To make sure that things do turn out well. I love the subscription model because obviously it just generates so more. People forget about the $6, $7, $10 a month type or $20 a month. And then it's almost like a ClickFunnels of like, as you're using it, there's like an option of, hey, just $2, you can get the tire shined, or like for an extra $1 on top of that, you can get a towel, so it's all these little things that add up to make it a bigger checkout that we don't realize, but in the moment we want. And on the subscription model, we don't even think about. So I think it's a very lucrative business, obviously if ran well. Is there any marketing that you do when you actually like jump in and start restabilizing one of these mom and pop shops?
Yeah. The typical mom and pop owner, they own 5 or less locations.
Sure.
And so, we might buy their entire portfolio off of them, 1, 2, 3, 4 locations. And so really the first year is that we are rebranding the location with our own logo. We're upgrading some of the equipment on site so we can operate more efficiently. We're renegotiating vendor contracts for all of the chemicals used in the process, maybe even adding some environmental, I don't want to say fail safes in there, but like, recapture systems for water. Right. It helps keep the environment clean, but also guess what? We get to reuse the water that lowers our expenses as well.
Probably get some tax benefits too. So it's like a triple win here.
Bonus depreciation, guys.
Yes.
And then we're working on moving the current client base from that single pay model into a monthly recurring revenue. And, typically our packages start at $25, $35, $45 a month. There's like 3 tiers. And, but they get so much for it. They get the vacuuming, they get the car wash, they get all the shines. They maybe can upgrade for a VIP tunnel. So where it doesn't matter what time of day they're coming in, they're next in line.
Yep.
Some of our locations, they have dog washing stations. So you can get the car clean, get the dog clean. That's like my favorite part of it.
I think that is brilliant too with the dog. It's almost like an add-on again. They could go separately for that, but the dog industry is such a huge space as well, because any dog owners are addicted to their babies, right? Like they are spoiling the heck out of them, so it's crazy. I love that.
Well, also, do you really want to put a dirty dog in your clean car?
No, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the really unique part of this industry as a whole is that it's in early consolidation. So if you think back to 2006, 7, 8, with the self-storage industry, there wasn't an immense amount of third-party management. There was a wealth of mom and pop owners. So you started seeing that consolidation and rebranding cycle there. And even with self-storage, we're only about halfway through that actual consolidation cycle. So there's a lot of runway with self-storage, and equally as amount, runway with car washes. Here's the kind of the cool thing. I know some investors object. They're like, hey, listen, like when we're moving to electric cars and we're getting rid of gas stations and lube stations, like what happens to the car wash location? I'm like, electric cars still need to be washed.
Yeah, like still need a bath. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another concern is like, well, there's so many of them. Well, because it's like self-storage. It's a service of convenience, right? Yeah. You can have 3 or 4 gas stations on a corner because depending on where you're turning, that traffic count and traffic direction, that really impacts which station does really well. Same thing with car washes. So that's another kind of indicator of why the franchise ground up development model makes me a little bit nervous. And we do development as well, but we actually are digging in very deep on these numbers. I can't say that everybody's doing the same with that. But, we're with our operating car washes or acquisition model, we're already buying performing car washes. So they have already worked out the location and the traffic count. So a lot of that is very de-risked.
Yeah. And anybody that is, just like you mentioned, that's kind of more skeptical or scared about, well, there's so many that are popping up. Well, just like you said, the convenience level is where you are positioning in it, right? Like where is it located so that it can be super convenient and a ton of traffic coming in. But also the second key part here is not everybody's going to be like running these establishments with excellence. So it's very, very crucial to really set it up for success and shooting for excellence. So I really do love that. Well, this is just amazing. I think there's a ton of value here. What would you say to somebody that's brand new looking to get started? Either, I think just getting even just a car wash. I think that would just be so unique and incredibly smart with the subscription model. Like there's not many other things in the real estate space that you can really set up as a subscription model, right? So
what do you mean? Multifamily leases, self-storage leases.
That's good. Yes.
Anyways, but that's what makes this powerful is you're kind of putting it on you're leasing on a month-to-month basis usage of a particular use facility, and you can go once or twice a month. Our average user goes about twice a month, or you can go every single day or multiple times a day.
Sure.
But as far as an average investor, majority of the people that I work with aren't interested in doing ground up development on their own. They're interested in investing for cash flow, equity, capital preservation, and tax benefits. And car washes have amazing tax benefits because you can depreciate all the equipment in year one. And they want their time back.
Yeah.
Right? And so really looking for, finding those operators, right, that, are, that have a proven model, that have the background and expertise to run this business. That's what I would suggest people to do, unless you're going to become the expert in car washes. For me, I'm an expert in my little niche of real estate, and I have chosen to tap into other people's expertise so I can diversify my portfolio. I think that's where a lot of investors kind of go off track, especially if they're new, right?
Yeah.
They're unfocused. They're all over the board.
They're all over. Yep.
One day they're like, I'm going to single family in Indianapolis. And the next day it's, I'm going to buy a 5 unit in Kansas City. And you're like, whoa, there's two different teams, two different types of realtors, right? Like this really helps keep investors focused on what is higher and best use of their time.
With the end goal in mind, really backtracking.
With the end goal in mind, and have the power of tapping into all those golden wealth pillars that real estate provides.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. Well, this was so amazing. I appreciate your time so much today. You just gave, almost an hour of your time. Anything that myself or the audience can do to give back to you?
Well, if you are interested in learning more about car washes or passive investing in general, I actually have a gift for you guys. So you can visit passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. It's a subpage on the passiveinvesting.com website, but it's the only place you can get my free ebook and checklist to help you understand how to safely passive invest in this choppy water environment, and also get access to my calendar. And we can talk about, what opportunities we might have available for you.
Cool. I love it. How can people get a hold of you besides that?
Passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com is the first best place. You can also find me on LinkedIn.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was an amazing episode. I appreciate it. This is a wealth of knowledge right here. So guys, definitely reach out to Whitney. She's got a heart of gold and doing some awesome things. If you guys want to get a hold of me, you can always do so on Instagram. It is Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, Facebook.com/Brandon Elliott Investor. If you're looking to learn true education behind credit and be able to, if you are a business owner, get up to $500,000 at 0% interest every 6 months, learn the techniques and tricks on how we are doing it, then check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. And we can talk more and really show you the full possibilities of credit. Make sure, if you haven't already, I don't know what you're waiting for, hit that subscribe button for Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast so you can get the newest notification every single Monday, and leave a 5-star review afterwards. Love all the feedback, all the amazing 5 stars we've been getting lately. You guys are amazing. Love you guys all so much. Share this out, tag somebody in that needs to see it, and we will see you on the next episode. Till next time, guys. God bless. Thanks, Whitney. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.